Hey, what's going on, guys? It's me, LA. Today we will be discussing how to choose the perfect brand identity. Now, let's be very clear here. The perfect brand identity does not exist, okay? We can get as close to perfect as we would like, but truly it's not possible. Why? Because you're going to evolve. You're going to be somebody else next week. You're going to be somebody else next month. You're going to be somebody else in the next 5 years. Your brand should stay very similar, but it'll only get better as time goes by. So if you're worrying about being perfect, please, this ain't the time, okay? This ain't the time.
Now rolling with the bomb.
So if you've been with me, if you've been following me during this journey of creating this faux kids luxury brand, then right now we're on chapter 5, where we're going to be choosing a brand name, the logo, and its visuals. Okay, chapter 5, it does have 2 exercises, I believe. 2 exercises. There are 2 exercises, okay? In the first exercise, it talks about brainstorming your brand name, all right? And there's check boxes that tell you to check off if that brand name that you've created has essence to it, uniqueness, simplicity, relevance, expandability, and availability, okay? Each one of these topics or areas of your brand name is very important to who your brand is and what it's going to represent forever. All right. So I have created 10 places where you can fill in the blanks for the drafts of your brainstorming process. So far, I have come up with a name. It took me 3 drafts, okay, to get to, no, 2 drafts to get to my third. And of course, this is a fake company that I'm talking about. It's not really what I'm going to name or what I'm thinking about naming. I just don't want to release that information just yet, in case this is something that I do down the road. I am taking the steps to create a brand. I am doing all the legwork. So I'm not sure how far I want to take it. So hear me out, right? My first draft option was watercloth, right? It's a kids luxury brand. So we know that it wanted to be inclusive, fluid, to bring in a level of unisex that would bring in that inclusivity that I'm looking for. So watercloth was top of my list. I'm not sure why, but those are the 2 words that I thought about. Now, watercloth doesn't sound like a luxury clothing brand that I would really want to be a part of. It actually sounds like something for the bathroom. So I took it to my second draft to think about the essence, the uniqueness, and the simplicity of what I wanted to put out. And I came up with baby drip. All right. Now that's a little bit closer to the fashion wording and showing that it is for the baby. But then upon my research, it's not unique. All right. There's a company, I believe in Michigan, that is called Baby Drip LLC, and they sell kids clothing. Now, could I add clothing to the end of that to where that is my clothing brand? Sure. But it's so close to somebody else's name that I don't want to dive into that rabbit hole of, lawsuits, litigation, cease and desist. But I would always ask, if you are creating your brand name and you're serious about what you're doing, look into your trademarks, look into your copyrights. Make sure that you are working to own what you're creating and not just creating it and thinking it's mine, I have it, it's fine. No, you want to get it on paper, all right? The correct paper. Now, my third draft, I believe, brings in everything that I was looking for. I came up with Luxe Kid Drip. Kid Drip being 1 word, and I add the word clothing brand to the end. Now, that's going to be the main level of my company, but I'll do business as Lux Kid Drip, and that'll be on my clothes, is what I'm thinking, right? All right. So you have 10 options here to put that into your mind, right? And this is something that I could finish now, and I have 7 more blank spaces. I may be doing something later on with creating my logo and think, wow, what if it was named this, and search it, and boom, now I have something perfect. I mean, I could just name it after my sons though, right? I think that would be pretty unique. If I named it after them and they modeled it, boom. All right, cool. Moving along. All right, so once you get through brainstorming your brand name, you're going to start working towards your visuals, okay? Now that name itself is going to be unique and for showing everybody what you're offering, but there's going to be other elements that creates an identity for your brand, to where your identity will be able to speak for itself before the brand name is even spoken. For instance, Nike. Nike has a great branding strategy where it's not too complicated. It is straight to the point, and their logo is, right? Everybody knows the Nike logo, okay? You can't even resell Nike logo clothing without being sued. All right, that's how tight they had it. Not overcomplicated, not doing too much, really focused, straight to the point. Logo is a swoosh mark, right? And I'm going to go ahead and say it. Maybe it's for speed. Maybe it's your go fasters. That's how my son says it. His Nike shoes are his go fasters. The swoosh, right? That's what you see when you're running in them. A blur. Okay, you see that blur. So the logo, a swoosh. All right. Their tagline, just do it. What? Do what? They create sporting clothes, right? But when it comes down to the brand name and then the visuals, when you see their print, right? The print is a specific font, okay? They have that logo that is very straight to the point. That is their identity. They can put that swoosh on anything, and everybody in the entire world knows that's Nike's. Okay. And that's the same thing that you want to replicate for your own brand. So in this second exercise, I have where you're creating brand visuals, okay? And the first portion of that is a list of check boxes that basically you want to make sure that you're hitting these specific areas to ensure that you are going to be creating something that's on track as, let's say, a Nike. Now, mind you, this will change at some point. You will not feel the same way about the very first thing you create, but I will say, okay, before you decide to change anything, make sure you plan it out. Plan it out. If it takes you to reopen this book or create a new book and write it all out, do something other than jumping back in and saying, I don't like it, it needs to be this. Because then you kind of mess up that flow of your customer's journey, okay? Remember the customer we created in chapter 3, I think it was? Am I right? Chapter 2. In chapter 2, we created our customers. Our customers are going to be looking at us, okay, from the moment we get to begin to discuss what it is that we're putting out. They're going to follow our entire story. All right. So the checklist is simplicity, memorability, versatility, relevance, and uniqueness. Okay. Are your brand visuals checking off these boxes? Is it simple? Will I remember that? Is it versatile? Does it fit in different areas? Right? How is it relevant? to what you're selling? What makes it unique? All right. So there's a second section under this exercise where it talks about the concepts. What are your concepts? Okay. How can I put this? What are you looking for others to conceive you as? Okay. So for instance, we're looking to be a kids clothing brand. So my concept is going to be a simple logo. Okay. I do want a simple logo, but I also want kid themes. In my mind, I'm thinking if I can get my sons to create their own level of kid versions of whatever, right? Don't matter. I want it to come from them. Kids theme, kid themed. And kids should get it. Maybe it'll be like a school theme. It's still going to be the kid version of that school theme. Okay. So we probably won't do highlighters and whiteout, but we may include a notebook with the wide lines because the kids use that type of paper. Okay. So kid themes. And then for the last area, I think my concept is going to be color blocks. Blocks of color. I don't think I just want plain color. I want to utilize a pattern of sort to where it'll be boom, boom, boom. It's mine, right? It's my brand. You see that pattern? Oh, I already know who it is. In my mind, in my mind's eye. Of course, some of this stuff is going to change. Do not worry about being perfect. I see a lot of brands worrying about being perfect straight out the gate. It doesn't happen like that. Coca-Cola has evolved over decades, okay? And you're just getting started. Do not pressure yourself too much for this, guys. All right, so the third section I have here is going to be your colors. What are your colors for that logo, your identity going to be? Okay, so for creaLAtive, my colors are teal, rose, and gold. And they began as teal, pink, and yellow, right? But I started out as a design company at that time. I toned them down a bit so that I can bring a softer element to it, a more welcoming vibe, if you will, but also wanting to be a little bit more unique than the teal, purple, yellow, gold situation that does happen when you're dealing with young kids, like little girl brands. Lisa Frank, okay, bright, colorful, but they kind of utilize that color brand, and I don't want to get muddled. It is technically the same, but it's definitely not, all right? Because I utilize those colors in shapes. If you look at the creaLAtive logo, it's a circle, it's a circle, it's a rectangle, and then there's the L with the triangle, okay? It's all about designing, it's all about creating, it's all about those fundamental blocks of what creaLAtive is. We are a creating machine, essentially, right? Our tagline, created today. I think that's wonderful for me, right? Now, for a clothing brand, I might want to do something a little more clothes oriented. So here I have KD as the logo in my mind, and I'm thinking the K could be the kid, right? So maybe we'll do a hat situation. The hat can always have its little style. Or do I want the hat? We won't even be selling hats. So let's think about that. So maybe I'll do a shirt, right? We're going to do a shirt at the outline with KD in the middle. And that's it. Because that is how each shirt should be created. The KD with its kids theme. Okay. Boom. So what colors are we going to use? Each color has a different feel and a different meaning. So your purples are a little bit more cerebral, meditative. Your greens are a little bit more outside, foundation, earthy. Then you have like your yellow, which is like really creative, bright. I mean, even when you say these different colors out loud, they kind of give you a different feel, and you want to bring that feel into these clothing. So for a kids clothing brand, I do like the kid palette of green, red, and is it blue, red, and green? RG So we're going to do RG That's going to give me my red, my green, and my blue. And each section for each color is going to tell you how much of each color you should use during your logo creating process, okay? So there's a 60, 30, 10% rule in brand identity where your colors should be utilized in that level of, that level of percentage, okay? So you want your logo to be 60% red, 30% green, and then 10% blue. I just thought about it. I didn't even include black or white, but nonetheless, those are the colors that don't really need to be said out loud, okay? Now, this is going to get really, really, really crazy when it comes to branding a website. So I might not want to use red, green, blue. I might do red. I might need to do red, white, blue. But then that kind of gives United States of America, right? We're going to keep the red, green, blue and see what we come up with. Now, section 4 is going to be typography. That's going to be your fonts, okay? Now, your fonts can be utilized or created in ways that are unconventional, unheard of, but unique to your own brand story and identity, all right? You can hire somebody to create a font for you, which quite honestly is pretty unique to depending on what you want, but there's so many fonts already out there. You could use a website to search through different fonts of what fits you the best and actually buy the license from that designer. How much is a license? Not a whole lot. Sometimes they want a donation. Sometimes they're asking coffee. I mean, $200-300 for a font that you can use on any platform or website is definitely. So that's typography, okay? Typography is, once again, very important. So think about that. All right, so the 5th section of this exercise is going to give you 3 draft options before you get to your final draft. So that's 4 different sections where you'll be able to come up with ideas, play around with different designs and sketches, and you may do this part yourself. You may want to sit down with a professional at this point to kind of begin the process of what it's going to, look like for you. But please be very cautious of what you're putting here and how you're putting here. Do you need to use a pencil Or is it okay to use a pen? Do you want to make it small enough to where you can section it off into 3 different areas for each draft? I don't know how you want to do this, but this is so important when you're bringing in another person to assist you with your idea. Now, of course, you're going to have all this other information about the feel, the vibe, and all this good stuff, and the story. And that designer may hear all those things and think its own unique idea, okay? But if you sit and already have a look, this is my story, here's my identity, and this is what I think would be great. Then you could bring them in to say, okay, I like these concepts, I like that concept, but here is not, I think it's missing something. All right. And that's why don't be afraid to pay for somebody to create your logo. I've created logo for several different people, and my biggest gripe about it has been they never truly know what they want. And even when they know what they want, they can't visualize that, right? So I'm stuck attempting to visualize something for somebody who really hadn't done any of the work. And I think that this is where I have put this together for. I put this together for those who are really unaware of those different steps you're going to need to take in order to complete a step in your brand's journey. And a lot of us don't even recognize that we are creating a brand. Some of us just say, I have a product and I want to put it on a website and I know I need a logo. Okay, fine, cool. But there's so much more that goes into it. Yeah, you can be already successful and utilize something like this. It kind of just gives you the moment to really clarify what's going on. So if you can have this and you hire a designer, you're now spending that money. And I've seen logos on Fiverr go for about $5 to about $2,000. But that is the level of quality and uniqueness you're getting from each person in those different price range. I can guarantee the person in the $5 category on Fiverr doing logos, they're using a generator. They're not hand drawing anything. Me, I hand draw. I give input, I give versions before you choose your final, and I hone in on all those different aspects of it. I do all mine by hand. And as much as I do charge for logos, I usually get kickback from those who aren't serious. If you're serious about creating your logo, your brand, your everything, my price is my price, okay? And that's fine if you don't want to utilize me. But here as someone offering advice to your questions, I would utilize me in a way that isn't about creating your logo, but more about, okay, the psychology behind the colors. I just can't figure it out. How do I separate the different levels of blues from whatever blue that I'm thinking to what my designer is actually putting in there? Because the sky blue to me is not the same sky blue to you. Our eyes are even different in that way. I can look at the sky and see a hue of blue that you wouldn't see. It's the same sky, but our brains are really functioning differently. So think about all of these different things when you're utilizing this, okay? There are 4 different sections for you to choose from in editing and designing and putting it all together, okay? And the final part of that building brand section, building your brand logo section, is your logo variant and brand visuals. And this is just 6 separate areas where you put your logo in its full color. You have your logo in black and white. You create your logo to be horizontal if it needs to be, right? This is not something that everybody's going to use, but it's here for those who know what that means. If you need a vertical logo, you put it here. You may not need this now. You may come to a point where now you're being sponsored or going to need to be sponsored or placed somewhere that's outside of your own location. And that person may ask you, send me your vertical logo, send me your horizontal logo. You may not know what any of this means. Some people might know what that means, okay? So think about that. Any graphic elements that you have, like I was saying with my creaLAtive logo, I have the circle, I have the rectangle, and I have the L-shaped block with the triangle, okay? It's the creative blocks of creaLAtive. That was my interpretation behind it. You'll want to put those different elements here because those same elements should find itself appearing throughout your website. And some website creators are so good at honing in on these different graphic elements, okay, for your website. So you might think that triangle that's in your logo doesn't mean anything, but if you have it as a graphic element and your designer knows it, that triangle now can be where your blurbs come from on your website, or the submit button to your form. Think big, think simple, think unique, okay? And then there's also a place for patterns. I seen an ad for a website builder, and they used dog prints in the background of their website to convey that they sell dog, whatever it was they were selling. It was for dogs, okay? And I thought that was so unique. So think about stuff like that. At the very bottom, there is a section for your logo, your brand name. When you decide to get them trademarked, are they trademarked? Do you need to trademark them now? This is your time and moment to start thinking about those things, guys, okay? If that's something that you're looking into, I would say do your research, hire a lawyer, do it the right way so that you're not in court 5 years later because somebody else thought you had a great idea as well and copied you word for word, bar for bar, as Soulja Boy would say. All right, I think that's it, guys. Let's see what I have for you all. Let's go ahead and summarize everything that we discussed. I am working to become a better YouTube creator, influencer, I don't know, video maker. I'm still working on it, guys, so bear with me. But I do have notes this week. So, in summary, all right, the key to choosing the perfect brand identity, it lies in understanding your brand's essence and communicating it effectively through your name, your logo, and its visuals. By following these exercises within this workbook that I've created, you'll be well on your way to building a strong and memorable brand. All right, so be sure to complete all the brainstorming exercises for generating your brand name, its ideas, and the logo design to create visuals that resonate with your audience. All right, now I'd love to hear about your experiences with choosing a brand name. Let's just go ahead and call it a brand identity because that's exactly what it is. And you guys need to know it's your brand identity. I love to hear about your brand identity. So share your thoughts and your comments below and let's continue this conversation. All right, now this is a section that I have been working towards because I thought I would be able to go live on YouTube. All right, I'm live on TikTok. And I thought it would be just as easy. Not saying that it was easy getting it on TikTok, but y'all, I got 17,000 followers on TikTok, and I am going to start working to bring them here to my YouTube channel so I can go live with you all so that Thursdays at 11 can be true. If I could go live, this would be so much easier for me. So hear me out, all right? So I'm working on a Q&A session. If you're struggling to come up with a brand name or design for your logo, please do not worry. This is perfectly normal. All right, so take your time, explore your different options, and trust your instincts. So if you are having any burning questions about branding, please submit it in the comments below or join us for our live Q&A session next week. Okay, I'll be on TikTok. It's at creaLAtive on TikTok. And I have to get back to TikTok. So if you have a certain time that you're looking for, if the 11 is fine on a Wednesday, Central Standard Time, please let me know. If there's a later time, or I need to make sure I am working for my audience. All right, so please help me if you can. What's best for you all? When can you all spend time to watch a live Q&A session? I'll do my research, okay? But I do want to hear from you all. So remember, building a strong brand takes time and effort, but with dedication and creativity, you can create a brand identity that truly reflects who you are and what you stand for. All right, so if you found this episode helpful, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to our channel, and hit the bell icon to receive notifications for future episodes. For more branding tips and resources, please visit our website, www.creaLAtive.com, and follow us on social media for updates and exclusive content. Please do not miss this live Q&A session. I'm going to be giving out personalized advice that I usually would charge for. All right, that's it. So thank you for joining me on this journey in mastering branding. I appreciate your support and look forward to helping you build a brand that stands out from the crowd. All right. In the next episode, we'll be exploring the importance of building your brand story. Stay tuned for valuable insight on crafting your brand narrative and identifying brand touch points. Okay, so this is a little something you can research now. If you're interested in knowing what will be covered, there's that. If not, I'll make sure I have my pages in on my video, so you'll be able to follow along without paying for a thing. I'm not trying to make the most of this. All this information is online. I am not new to any of this information. This is just what I think I am wonderful at. I could create a brand out of the smallest idea, right? I'm creative. My thought process is too much just for myself, and I need to get these ideas out the best way I can. I know I have a product, but truly the services, they come directly from me. All right. So I'll be working on putting together different packages of courses, workshops, and mentorships, coaching, if you will. Please help me. I'll be staying focused as much as I can in this busy life that I have. So please stay tuned for more episodes packed with valuable insights and practical tips for building a strong and memorable brand. Together, we'll unlock the secrets of brand success. All right. This has been fun. I have had a wonderful time with creating all this content. I am doing a more thorough job of my descriptions. They will be all here before the end of the week. Please, I need you all to understand that nothing is going to ever be perfect in your creator life, your business, entrepreneur life. Things happen, and they happen in ways that are just so unimaginable when you're doing things on your own. When you're working 9 to 5, you have to be there on time and you have to do what they say, and everything's working in their own little box, right? When you're doing it for yourself, there are so many outlets of interruptions, and if you have kids, your kids just all of a sudden need you when you're just zoned in. So please stay strong out there for myself, for you, and for your future. You guys, you got it. Please have a wonderful week. Bye.